yo, what it do, what it is, what's good with this KC the Red Pill Alpha, back at you fellas again with that heat. Y'all already know what time it is. And I'm not going to do the intro at all. I'm about to get ready to, start moving. I got things to get into. But we're going to get straight to it. I was asked by a few subscribers, what do I think about the Andrew Tate situation and his brother Tristan Tate. Yeah, Tristan Tate. What do I think about this situation? I've heard just like everyone else have heard. Hell, I've seen just like everyone else have seen the footage of him getting arrested, I believe, in Romania. Yeah. I follow Andrew Tate 2018, 19, something like that. I first got up on him, He was kicked back in them offices, smoking them cigars. You know what I'm saying? Bringing that gangster shit to you motherfuckers. Telling you what's real. Basically restoring masculinity. Because a lot of you youngsters lack this shit out of masculinity, I'm being honest. He knows that, I know that. A lot of us men, that's men, knows that. Not every man. Not every, what they call them male. They say they, shout out to Sinful the P, may he rest well. What they say, males that profess to be men. I like that shit. But yeah, a lot of males out here, are not giving you guys the insight, wherewithal, fortitude of why you guys are like how you are. Listening to these women and being led by the powers that be, non-confrontational. You don't speak up for yourself. You don't stand for shit. I mean, hell, shit. And y'all that way because as time progressed, a lot of you guys are that way. Now, like I said, as time progressed, technology have flourished and it's big than what it could be, and it's going to be bigger and bigger, It softened up a lot of men. That's what it done, and not just the technology. No, we're not going to say that. But laws have been put in place to soften up men. And if technology and big tech companies and all that shit falls up under that, then that's what it is. I can agree that all that's together and it's, it's a conspiracy with all that shit. Yeah, I definitely can agree. Now, the Andrew Tate situation. Keep it real with you fellas. Keep it all the way gangster with you. I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. You're talking to a man who did prison time. I was considered once, until they captured me and put me in, a menace to society. And they will label you that. The government will label you a menace to society when they're trying to end you. They'll label you a terrorist, a threat, and all type of things, when they're trying to silence you, shut you up, or put your ass away. And I wasn't labeled no menace to society because I the words I was saying, and speaking my mind and putting out certain information. No, I was labeled a menace to society because I'm very defiant. I bucked the system. I didn't give a fuck. I sold dope. I didn't want no job. I felt like a job was for motherfuckers they was robbing, keeping you down. It was like it was like a portion of slavery. I kind of always looked at it like that, And there's nothing wrong with jobs. There's nothing wrong with working at all, fellas. There's nothing wrong with that. No, that was my mind frame on how I looked at things. And yes, I have jobs. I got out of prison. I couldn't do nothing without a job. They weren't going to let me move around and make no moves or, actually live my life like I would want to without some kind of stable finances coming through or whatnot, And like I said, fellas, there's nothing wrong at all with having a job. But when I was younger, in my mind frame, especially in that crack days, that shit was coming so good, man. I'm like, man, fuck that shit. I'm loving. I'm having this shit. And that shit incarcerated me. It put me in. But this ain't Andrew Tate and them. They don't move like that. I don't think they're doing no whatever they putting them up under the SEX trafficking. I don't believe that shit. Fuck no. Fellas, I'm gonna put y'all on some game. Even though I said what I say, I live my life, ain't got nothing to do with Andrew Tate lifestyle, Bill Cosby lifestyle, so many men that they have trying to brought to ruin, or they have brought to ruin lifestyles. Mine ain't had nothing to do with them. I'm just educated on what's going on. Fellas, when you speak masculinity and you kind of disrupt the apricot, you kind of slap the shit out of the status quo, I'm gonna put it like that. You become a threat to national security. That's real game. Once I became conscious and aware of a lot of things, started changing the way I think, you know, my mind frame, the way I move, got away from the drug life and all that, and figured out numbers and how to obtain finances without having to get into illegal shit and all that. Once I did that and moved myself into property and selling, I bought and sold a few houses, you know. Once I moved into that lifestyle and, you know, invest my money into certain things, man, and became more educated on that, you know. Well, I always had my historical education from prison, you know, ethnic education and things like that when it comes to my ethnicity and, you know, certain kind of, like ethics, values, and things of that nature. You know, my natural hue, my race, the history of my people, the history of your people, Caucasian, Asian, Hispanics, things like that. When I start studying and shit like that, I start opening my mind up to knowing that from Dr. Martin Luther King to Malcolm X to Mahatma Gandhi, a lot of these guys was a threat to national security because they can disrupt and change the way people think. They can change the way people move mentally, physically just as well. You know what I'm saying? And they're not going by the governmental guidelines. When you're not doing that, they will do anything to remove your motherfucking ass. I promise you. They'll get you out the way. If you're not following the regiments and what they got set up, NWO, what you know, y'all get what I'm saying. They said that, you know, that new world, you know what I'm talking about. You're not following none of that shit, man. They're going to bring you to ruin. And they will bring you into ruin. And the reason why they got to bring you to ruin is because it's a mass of people that can listen to you and follow you. And if a mass of people that can listen to you and follow you and believe the things that you're saying and actually putting in the work behind the things you're saying, moving in a direction towards the things that you're putting out here, you in some shit. And I don't give a fuck if you 1 cent behind on your taxes. And I don't give a fuck if you spit gum out on the traffic way. They'll do anything they can if they gotta make up shit to get your ass out the way. That's real talk. Because you are a threat to national security. You're upsetting the apricot. You're giving their status quo. You're going against the status quo. You're giving it a black eye. They don't like that. Trust me. I myself have experienced that on a smaller scale. Not on Andrew Tate scale and Malcolm X scale, Martin Luther King, Cosby, and you might as well throw in Tory Lanez. I'm seeing that too. You know, I'm seeing them coming out. See this. You know, they don't like masculinity being around anymore, fellas. And the reason why they're not accepting masculinity being around anymore is because it doesn't go with their agenda. It definitely goes against their agenda on what they got planned. And I don't want to speak on that, you know, and no, I don't want to get too deep in that because it can disrupt certain things, and you know, I could get probably hit with the policy and YouTube guidelines and all that. I'm not going to get into none of that, you know what I'm saying? But the women. We more in a liberal world, you know, and I can see this being a liberal world going forward for quite some time, you know. Look at Donald Trump. They taking him out of here, man. They trying to end him. They trying to end. It's masculinity. It's those who got their bread up, and you ain't got to have your bread up. Those who got a rich mind, a wealthy mindset. Those who don't stand for anything. Those who stand on their shit. Those who are very defiant. Those who stay within their own, you know what I'm saying, realm of sexuality, which means if you a masculine man, you're going to want to fuck with a feminine woman. You know, you get what I'm saying? You're not trying to jump shift and do all other shit that they will want you to do. You are a threat to national security. Andrew Tate and the rest of those guys, me or whoever else that's speaking this real shit, we are threats to national security. That's real game, man. Y'all need to understand that. It's not about them just fucking with you because they want to fuck with you because you're trying to take Kevin Samuel's spot, or you're doing big numbers and shit like that. Of course, you know, when you get bigger with the numbers, they can look at you now. When you smaller and speaking that shit, Andrew Tate and them speaking, they not gonna look at you because you smaller. You're not reaching out to a mass of people. But when you up in the hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers and views and shit, you reaching a mass. I mean, you reaching a boatload of people. And more and more and more that's keep coming. They gotta stop that. It's got to be an end to that. That's a threat to national security. You get it? Like these videos, share them and subscribe, fellas. And y'all already know I kicked up some of that fire. I'll try to speak to y'all on some shit, you know. Not, you know, the shit I went through in my personal life was definitely smaller than what these guys are going through. But it's the same setup. It's the same formation. It's the same pattern. They'll use that shit on a small guy. They'll use that shit on a guy that's wealthy and major and rich as fuck. They don't give a fuck. They want you out the way, you getting out the way. That's how they are. Holla.